Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Julia. I'm a contemporary singing specialist based in Australia, and today I am finally checking out Diana Ankudinova again. My last reaction was actually my first reaction to her, and that was a while ago. So I'm very excited to be able to watch this new performance, which I believe is a very recent one, because in my last reaction, she was a very young performer. I mean, still an incredible performer, but she was very young. So I am super keen to hear how her voice has continued to develop as she has continued singing and is now further along into her career. So today I'm going to be reacting to Can't Help Falling in Love, her cover of that song. So let's get into it.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. But I can't help falling in love with you.
Oh god, I hate myself for pausing it there. Oh my god. Um, I just couldn't find a spot where I wanted to. I don't want to interrupt. I only interrupted because otherwise the copyright gods will come for me. So I've paused it. Oh my goodness, what a completely unique take on this song. I have never heard it performed in this kind of musical context. It's almost like the representation of love that actually acknowledges some of the perhaps the negative, and like there's a little bit of risk involved. It kind of like this is a musical representation of that side of love, because over and over I've heard this song covered, and it's always the sweet, tender approach, and this is like it feels a lot more raw, and it's almost like it's representing the other side of what these lyrics could possibly mean, and I find that very, very exciting. As far as range goes, I'm seeing so much from her in this song. As she's going up there, I just want to find out where she's actually going, and then I'll break down some of the vocal choices that she's using. As far as timbre goes, she's still got a little bit of that covered sound that she used when I last listened to her. So she was a younger performer then. She still has that covered quality to her sound, and it's almost like we're getting a little bit more of that soft palette sitting a little bit lower. Would be my next guess as to how some of these sounds are being produced. But also, I would dare say that there may be something within her pharynx that is contributing to some of that extra distortion that we hear in her sound, because her voice is so unique. I can only think that the thing that is influencing her sound has to be coming directly from her, because it's been replicated now across that time span of when she was a younger performer to now in, I think this was 2021. That's when this video went up. So across that span of time, those vocal qualities are still present. And I would start to suspect perhaps it's actually something within her pharynx that is giving us some of these overtones to her sound. As far as pharyngeal setup goes, it's sounding like she's still low larynx, wide pharynx. So similar setup to when she was younger. But let's take a listen again to this high section. I want a pitch check. Where is she getting up to? Oh, oh, damn. Wow. You know, for a contralto, heck, even for a mezzo sometimes, that's a lot of presence and evenness going up to that B flat 5. Am I even hearing that right? Yep. She's just floating up to the B flat 5. And then what's the drop? What is the drop? So is this. Okay, so she's finishing that entire section on this F5. And now she's dropped. So she's in the 4th octave there. God. What is she ending on? Yeah, all right. So she's back on that. She's back on that F5 at the end. Number of things that I want to go back and have a little look at because she has clearly done a lot of growing. There is so much more control over how she is accessing part of her registration. Before, it would lean a little bit more on the breathy side as she was going up. It was still there, it was still present. This is like almost flawless balance. There's that presence to the sound, and usually if you're listening to a soprano sing up there, there's a lot more ping, a lot more ring to it as they're going up to that B flat 5. This is, I almost was questioning whether I was even hearing the notes that I was hearing because of the tone that she was able to achieve going up so high and not a hint of laryngeal tension, nothing. She made it seem easy. And often when we're reaching for those high notes, yes, I mean, she's in a lighter setup, so she's not having to carry up quite as much mass. And when you're belting, you are taking up more mass. You might feel like you need to work for it a little bit more. But it is similar for people going to second register who want to go up for those high notes. They may feel like they need to overwork. And I don't get that at all from her. So much work has gone into developing a balanced, efficient technique that you honestly could not technically fault this in any way. I mean, sure, maybe there'll be people who will try, but everything from the breath management, the connectedness through her phrasing, if anything, that distortion I mentioned earlier that almost makes it feel like there's an extra film of sound that goes over some of her lower notes, that's not really present as she goes higher. So Yeah, I would jury's out on how she's actually producing that low stuff. I strongly suspect it's something in her vocal tract, which is also moving, contributing to a strengthening of a particular tonal quality that she's getting, or a particular overtone that she is indeed already producing just from something moving. Something in there is contributing to that extra sound, and it's not quite as uh, dominant as she's going up into that higher stuff. I mean, it almost sounds like there's too much darkness and a warmth for it to feel like a true second register. I mean, she didn't, I don't even feel like she really worked a lot of the contralto stuff in this, if I'm honest. I want to listen to that again. Sorry, from the beginning. So, okay, so she's going down to that F3.
Only fools rush in, but I can't help.
Yeah, I can't do that one down the octave. You kidding me? I'm a flipping soprano. I cannot see three. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. So she worked that contralto stuff in the beginning, going all the way down to that C3.
Falling in love with you.
And she sounds a lot, the tone feels a lot more whole as she's down there actually. There's more-ish.
Say, only fools rush in,
Oh my goodness.
but I can't help falling in love with you.
Oh my goodness. So, color-wise, I would say that she's actually fairly consistent with keeping that darker color tone, if that makes sense. Vocally, it feels like she's maintaining that darker color tone all through that lower stuff. I would say where she went to then did feel more like a very light first register, or she's gone to second. We also had some aspiration, so vocal folds waveform is they're open longer than they are closed to let that breathiness through. And musically, I think that provides a stunning contrast to the fullness she's just given us in this first register, lower down, particularly going all the way down to that C3. You have that kind of range, not just pitch, but tonal expression. So within the scope of this song, I do think that C3 is the lowest note that I heard. I'd have to re-listen to it again, if I'm honest, but we'll just say the C3 is the lowest from the sections that I've gone back and re-listened to. C3 going all the way up to that B flat 5. That's almost 3 octaves that she has spanned then of functional range. And that is a huge difference, because we can have range, but for it to be functional range, so parts of your voice that you can actively use and it sounds good and not like you're having to really work for it, there has been so much work that she's put in on her part to ensure that her instrument has kept developing and that her technical foundation, so things like breathing and support, connection through her phrasing, making sure that when she is indeed doing that higher stuff, she's not forcing that larynx too high. It's not feeling like it's going to like pop out the top of her head. There are things in this that I feel she approaches, particularly going up, that are more reminiscent to how perhaps someone who is used to using a low larynx position would approach it. So someone like a contralto or someone who studies classical singing. But even if we're not looking at that, in my first reaction, and some people did get mad at me for this, I said, this sounds like a young vocalist who's got a lot of potential. And this is the kind of potential I was talking about. Not to say that when she was a younger vocalist, she wasn't already good, but people usually, particularly vocalists, generally don't peak at 14. Their voices keep developing, and if they do what she's done, which is to continue developing her voice from a technical side, but also from an emotional side, you wind up with what she just did then, which is emotionally engaging, tone-wise, color-wise, so interesting. Like it's a completely different feeling for a song that I've heard so many times over. Like, how many times are you treated to that kind of experience where a song that you know very well and have heard sung over and over and over and over and over again, you get a completely new perspective on it, a completely different feeling to it. This was epic, and I mean, the visuals behind her also, I feel like, added to the ambience of it all. This was amazing. And from a technique side, there's a lot that she's actually using. First register, lowered larynx, maintaining that fullness of tone, belting qualities as she's going towards the the end of this performance. She's demonstrating a very good mastery and connection underneath that light first or uh, slightly warmer, darker second, going all the way up to that B flat 5. It didn't look like she was having to push for that sound. We had the mouth open, we had connection between each of those notes. It didn't feel like there was strain going between them. And the entire time, we get this unique timbre, we get this unique tone, this warmth and darkness. There's a depth to the quality of the sound that almost makes your ears feel like, am I even hearing what I'm hearing? I really enjoyed this. I'm so glad that I'd actually waited, because now I have probably a more distinct contrast in memory of her as a young performer and her as a performer in 2021, because the progress is just that. I mean, that's the kind of progress that you generally hope you're starting to encourage in your voice as you age, as you get better, as you perform more. This was amazing. I very much enjoyed this, both the reinterpretation of the song, but also the delightful, unique qualities of Diana's voice that make her performances feel really special. Anyways, that is where I will leave that one there today. I didn't want to pause this one, like, at all. I was enjoying it way too much. It takes a while for the brain to compute the tone that it's hearing on the notes that it's hearing. So this was absolutely delightful to listen to, and I hope that you enjoyed that one. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, click the subscribe button and the bell notification beside it for more just like this one. As usual, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you are staying healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye. Let's get into it.